Hello, what have we here?
You're wrong.
Damn! What the hell was that?
Game over, man. Game over.
You're wrong.
You finished?
Well, I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
Greetings, boys and girls, lemurs and squirrels, and welcome to The Week in Geek for June the 17th in this foul year of our Lord 2026. A wholly owned subsidiary of Free Range Idiocy, wherein we present our midweek dose of geekery for you, the people. Sit back and relax as we scrape the best news we found off the bottom of the interweb shoe and let you know exactly how we feel about it. I, of course, am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the lead editor-in-chief bottle washer of The Week in Geek. I give you the man they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are we doing?
Relatively okay for the shape I'm in.
We kind of covered that in the pre-production meeting. I don't know if you want to go back into it all, but
Nobody knows the troubles us.
Indeed.
2 shows in a row I'm singing. My goodness.
It's a record. I mean, we did just cross the threshold of 250 episodes, my friend, at least for the weekend. This is the Week in Geek for Free Range Idiocy, but yes, sir. It is a first that we've had back-to-back Uncle Todd, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. So,
this will actually be in official time. This will be episode 298 overall that we've done.
Ooh, okay. Well,
So
2 episodes.
Friday will be 299, and the next Week in Geek.
Oh, big 3 bills, huh?
Yep.
There we go. Very nice. Very nice. Exciting.
I'll bake you a cake.
I will accept said cake.
Of course you will. All right. Well, what do we got planned for ourselves on this Week in Geek Wednesday, sir? What do we got?
Any happenings we need to catch up on with the two of us over the last week or so? I mean, I've done my usual gallivanting starting. Really, my weekends start Thursday night with the little Adele's dinner, some jazz Thursday night, goes into Friday. Oh, saw Disclosure Day on Friday. We'll get into that in my And Another Thing. And then Saturday, had a potpourri of activities during the day, and including, believe it or not, so what would this be? June 13th, the first day of 2026 that I finally got on my bike and got a ride in. And I'm not talking about a motorbike, folks. No. I don't get on the Fat Hog. I get on to the hybrid mountain bike that I just like to pedal through the prairie paths of the west suburbs of here in Chicagoland. Ladies and gentlemen, it was good to get out on the bike once again. I immediately, once I got home, jumped in the shower, changed, boom, and I was filling my face with some great Greek food. Because after a hard ride, you need some carbs, baby. You need some carbs. So it was good to go.
That's what she said.
Thank you, Michael Scott.
I mean, I was already going to make a remark about how your wife is probably happy that you're not hopping on a Fat Hog, but I mean,
well, I'm just saying, I'm not riding a motorcycle. I'm riding a pedal.
I mean, not
bike.
that there's anything wrong with that.
Just stop it. Just stop it. Good God.
I'm talking about a motorcycle. I mean, for insurance purposes, right? I mean, that'd be through the roof.
I know. I am not a motorcycle rider. I'm a cyclist, if you will.
I used to want to get a motorcycle. And now I have seen enough stupid people on motorcycles that I'm like, and not that there's not stupid people in cars. That was my first thing, was like, I've seen far too many stupid drivers, way too easy to get wiped out. Then now it's a case of I've seen now so many people do stupid things on motorcycles that I'm like, I really don't want to be associated with them. And it's like, I can't win. At least if I'm associated with the idiots who are in cars, I at least have, some sheet metal around me.
Yeah.
So that's where I've fallen on this.
I too had a similar thought back in my my early years, because it was also seemingly, at least, of course, I wasn't thinking about this broadly. I was thinking about this just from a perspective of, when I'm, working my summer job and then going back to school and so forth, was to get a motorcycle because it was cheaper. It was less gas, not as expensive as, especially what I was considering buying at the time was not, anywhere near what a car would cost. But then there was the whole issue of, well, what if it rains? What if it snows? What are you going to do? That sort of thing. But yeah, no, I'm glad I didn't. And, I very much have enjoyed my years of cycling. This was a road ride that I did. Not actually didn't go on the paths. This was a road ride. I need to get on the path soon. Man, I thought my leg strength was good. The thing that killed me was my wind. I thought I had more wind going, and this ride I do, it's pretty easy going the first half, and then the second half is a lot of I basically essentially I'm kind of I'm not really riding downhill, but my elevation is going down, and when I kind of loop around and come back the other way, I have to go back up that elevation that I came down.
Yep.
And my legs were kind of like, what the hell are you doing to me, man? So but no, it was good. It was a good weekend. And
now, did you put on the full spandex bib and racing outfit?
I did not have the bib, but I do have my bicycling shorts. So they are
those
comfy.
are necessary. Oh my
those
gosh.
Oh yeah.
You need a little padding.
Oh, you do. And it does make a massive difference. So overall it was a good ride and a good time, and had some good food, and today had some stuff going on, and I don't know if I'd say I'm ready for the work week, but I'm as ready as I'm going to be for the work week. So
well, good on you, sir. Good on you.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. Yesterday,
all right.
Yesterday for us, we were just tooling around in the Jeep.
Nice.
For endless hours. It seemed we had a birthday party. We had 2 graduation parties, a couple of other gatherings that we had to make it to. So it was a nice day here in Southern Maine. So nice. I have finally figured this out after owning a Jeep now for 6 or 7 years now, that I have a garage. I don't know why I was struggling to put the doors on and the top up and all of that stuff.
You're just finding this now?
For whatever reason, like last year, I kind of started parking in the garage more, and this year I was like, and partly it's also because we just aren't driving quite as much separately these days, so it just sort of works out that like I don't have to have a separate car at my disposal in all weather conditions. So I'm like, I've got the top back on it, I've got the side, I've got the doors off. I just park that sucker in the garage now, and it's like, okay, if it might rain, we're taking the other vehicle. But yesterday was a gorgeous day here, kind of hot, but it, nice little breeze going. So we did all of our driving al fresco, nice. In the Jeep, which is always nice. Makes going, even though it's like, I'm driving around. I'm like, how many more friggin' stops do we have? It's like Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. Like, what are we doing here? Haven't we run out of people to visit? I didn't know we knew this many people. We have to be bigger jerks, or have to do something, because we need to lose some friends or something. This is ridiculous. Yeah. But no, that was pretty much the majority of yesterday, and then did a little bit of a lawn mowing today, and yeah, I had a very boring week. This was a lot of catching up on work and other stuff this week. So it was over before I knew it, and then the weekend is now over before I knew it. So
yes, it is.
Mondays are coming. Quick. Holy hell!
Goes by quick. Mm-hmm. Well, hey, jumping right into it. Yes. I have a number for you, sir. 3,964. What does it mean to you?
Wait a minute. Say it again.
3,964. What does that mean to you?
3964.
Yeah.
The combination on your luggage.
Damn it! How did you know? Son of a... No, it's not actually. Okay. It's the number of days since the last Rush concert almost 10 years ago. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this past week, in June 7th in L.A., we had the return of Rush.
Holy hell.
What? I'm just, trying to...
juiced up.
I'm not juiced up.
Somebody stuck a cattle prod up your butt, and you're like...
I'm clean as a whistle.
Well, yeah, especially if someone put a cattle prod up there.
Well,
but all right, well, good on you, and happy Rush Day to all the fans who celebrate or whatever the hell, and have a shot of maple syrup. And
the concert tour has started, my friend. It has started, and it is with their new drummer.
Their tour, where they're setting up in 5 cities?
No, actually, they've expanded it quite a bit.
They have. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the schedule has grown significantly since it first was released. It was just 5 cities, 5 or 6, and it's grown. Like Boston was not on there initially. Boston's on there. There was a number of cities.
Mike said he got some tickets for there. I was like,
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, they weren't on that schedule. Wow.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Good for them.
Their new drummer Anika Niles has started, and man, let me tell you, I've seen some reels on Instagram with fans who have taken recordings of her playing. Oh, she is more than holding her own with the material. Let me tell you.
Oh well, I mean, she was already like a well-regarded.
Yes,
I mean, wasn't she like well-regarded session and touring drummer and like?
Yeah, she was playing apparently with Jeff Beck, and the guitar tech who tours with him and that group was also Geddy Lee's tech. And when they were talking about trying to maybe start something up again, he said, you guys should check her out because she is the real deal, and seems to fit in quite nicely with the boys. Good. So good to see that. But yeah, no, they had a great kickoff to the concert. And then this article from loudersound.com, our writer here, we want to credit Fraser Lurie. Fraser Lurie is his name. That's right.
That's made up.
Uncle Ladies and gentlemen, we have to put it through the sniff test of Uncle Todd, and he seems to be, he is like a bloodhound when it comes to the AI name generation. And
no, that's if I like it. Otherwise, I just lift my voice.
You do the old, the old stuff.
Just walk away. Well,
it's kind of the dog version of Nana.
Yes, Skippy didn't like that one.
But the set list played at the Kia Forum in Los Angeles on July 7th, 2026. The first set, Xanadu, Limelight, Far Cry, Subdivisions, Free Will, Bravado, Caravan, La Villa Strangiata, we talked about that last week, Vital Signs, and The Spirit of Radio closes set 1 out.
Hey,
set
I know
2.
some of those songs.
What's that?
I know some of those songs.
You do know some of those songs, I know. Set 2, 2112 Part 1 Overture, 2112 Part 2 The Temples of Syrinx, and 2112 Part 7
3
Grand Finale.
Wait,
no, they cut out a bunch because it's like a 22-minute song, and so they basically kind of do the first part and then they do the last part.
What a chip!
Well, they're trying to keep things moving along. Got to keep it moving along. What else we got after that? Distant Early Warning, Red Barchetta, Dreamline, Natural Science. I'm really psyched. I hope they play Natural Science. That is one of my favorite Rush songs. Just if you ever want to see their full bore music technicality being on full display, this is the song for it. The drumming, the bass, the guitar, it's all there. It's crazy. It's good. Natural Science, Time Stands Still. They brought in Amy Mann, who does the voice on that one.
Yeah, I saw something. She's like the one and only guest vocalist on any Rush song ever.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
So they brought her back. Now, I don't know if she's touring with them for every show, but it sounds like, she got brought in for that. Red Sector A, YYZ. Ding, 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 ding. I love that song. The Garden, which is, that is a great song from Clockwork Angels. Like, if there's one song I would point someone to, that just, like, it's not like Tom Sawyer, which is it's always going to be like the song they're remembered for, but there's just a lot of life lesson and maturity and just kind of where, like, that's the last song on Clockwork Angels, which is the last album they did with Neil Peart. And it's such a great song. I would highly recommend you check it out. Kind of a sub and another thing right there. Tom Sawyer was the last song they played in set number 2, and then the encore was Bytor and the Snow Dog, which is a phenomenal song. It is really good. It's from their early stuff, and then of course, The Working Man. So that was the full set from the Kia Forum in LA this past June 7th. And so the machine has started. They are on tour. They are doing their thing.
That is awesome. You know what? I'm just realizing in our catching up, and you're gonna laugh at this. Just with the events of today, I've kind of forgotten.
Yes.
Went to see a show down in Portsmouth on Friday night, and went to the Italian steakhouse that was there.
Oh.
That we've checked out a couple of times. Had some amazing food. Had a nice little 10-ounce barrel cut filet mignon with some mascarpone mashed potatoes and broccolini, and of course had the black truffle butter melted on top of the steak. And my wife had a flat iron steak, and there was enough of the butter that I was able to, like, before it completely melted, I like cut it in half and put some on hers as well. Holy hell. And then paired that with the Chop House Old Fashioned, which features a brown butter bourbon.
Damn.
You want to talk
good.
about rich.
Yeah.
It was like this whole other thing. And then I went to the venue and had a regular old fashioned there, and I was like, oh yeah, the difference is like it's literally just butter in that. Like, that's insane. That's an insane amount of meat and fat and salt that I ate in that night. And then saw the Nth Power, which will be part of my another thing. But the reason that this jogged my memory is that for their encore, they actually did.
They played Working Man?
No, they did. So they're a trio. They did a medley of Earth, Wind, and Fire songs.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty amazing to hear a trio, bass, guitar, drums, play Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Very much so.
It was insane.
Very much so.
Insane. So
very cool.
I figured I'd mention that before I forgot again.
No. Excellent. So just to give you a sense, sir, you mentioned 5 cities, maybe 6 cities when they first announced, and you were not wrong. L.A., of course, I just mentioned. They just wrapped up there across 3 shows. 2 shows in Mexico City starting June 18th. 4 shows in Fort Worth, Texas, June 24th. Let's see. From there, they go to Chicago, United Center, July 16th through the 22nd. Then they move on to New York, Madison Square Garden, July 28th and 30th. July 28th through August 3rd. Then they're off to their old stomping grounds in Toronto, August 7th through the 13th. Philly from the 21st to the 23rd. Detroit for 2 dates. Montreal for 2 dates. Boston for 2 dates. Cleveland for 2 dates. We're now in September at this point. San Antonio for 2 dates in September. Then we move into October. They're in Denver, Seattle, San Jose, Washington, D.C. Where else? They're going to be at the Mohegan Sun, apparently, on October 30th and November 1st. Yep. They're going to be at...
Fracking kidding me? Like...
It says Uncasville Mohegan Sun Arena. I assume that's the Mohegan Sun.
I did not realize that friggin' barn would be big enough for a show of that size, because I know how big.
Crazy.
Hang on a second, I'm curious. Proceed with the others.
What else in November? They'll be in Florida. I don't have a city here. It just says Hollywood Hard Rock Live. I don't know. They'll be in Tampa for 2 dates, Charlotte for 2 dates, Atlanta for 2 dates, Glendale. They'll be in Arizona for 2 dates in December. Not a bad place to be. Then they roll up into Edmonton for 2 dates in December, and then they close everything out in Vancouver on the 15th and 17th of December. So that went from a kind of neat and tidy little six city, 4 dates in each city, 24 dates sort of thing, and it blew up, ladies and gentlemen. It blew up. So Rush is in the house, and they are bringing the thunder, and I'm very excited to see the band in about a month.
So they did it right. Where, and by the way, the Mohegan Sun Arena is 10,000 for concerts, which still seems a little small to me. Like, that's essentially that's Worcester Centrum and or like the Portland Arena capacity.
Yes. Now, in their history, this just occurred to me. It kind of makes sense they're going there because when they came back in the mid-'90s after a 4-year layoff because of Neil's wife and his first wife and daughter dying in a car crash, they came back and their first concert was in Hartford, Connecticut. So it doesn't surprise me they're playing in Connecticut because there's probably that tie there a little bit of, bringing some of their music into that area. So
either that or Mohegan Sun just offered a bunch of money.
Well, draw me money.
I mean, congrats to them for getting the shows and enjoying this, and hopefully it's gonna work out well for them. And they did it right as compared to a lot of the other tours that we're seeing with Blue Dot Fever, where they can't sell the arenas and the venues they're trying to book. Like apparently somehow, I don't subscribe to the subreddit, but somehow for whatever reason, Reddit's algorithms have it in their head that I want all things Van Halen on my feed.
So you can thank our one show for that, or two shows we've done on that.
I get the Van Halen subreddit like suggested on my timeline constantly. And, apparently there was I want to say Indiana.
Yeah.
It might have been Indiana. Both Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth had shows in Indiana, either the same night or different nights, like not very far apart, like 2 hours apart geographically.
Yeah. And
Sammy damn near sold out his venue. Diamond Dave canceled his show because essentially there was tickets aplenty with a day or two left. So the show got canceled.
Yeah.
It sounds like Rush kind of did this right, where they're like, all right, hey, we know that people will want to come and see us enough in these areas.
Yeah.
And then just sort of realized, okay, maybe we can do some more. Because I mean, at first it when you mentioned the cities that they first started with, I was like, I can see that. Like you're kind of playing both coasts and you're playing a couple down the middle where it's like hardcore Rush fans will travel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think then they added more as the demand increased. It's like, okay, that's a viable way of doing it, So, don't be like Dave.
Just for the record, I'm going to be in the nosebleed seats in the United. I'm going to be up in the 300. I'm going to be up where Jade Cargill was sitting, just not in the luxury box when we were in the United Center for Elimination Chamber. But I've already, I've told the kids, look, hey, we're going. We're just going to sit back and listen. You know what I mean? Just watch the video screen. I'm not there to take pictures. I'm not going to get anything good. I'll try to take a picture or two. I am not going to kill myself to record squat. I am just going to watch this thing and absorb it and enjoy it, because it is probably the last time I'm going to see them play. And I'm excited to take the kids with me. They're not big fans of the band, but they've spent plenty of time in the car with me in their younger years, and they heard Dad playing various tunes from the collection. So
held hostage per se,
possibly, but they weren't complaining. They asked for, when they heard a song they liked, they were like, oh, can you play that one?
They weren't complaining because they wanted their allowance or they had headphones in.
Well, could be. Well, we'll move on from one bit of revelry, which is the return of Rush, to another bit of revelryhausen, if we will. And thank you, Uncle Todd, for this, because in my rush to get the outline together, I am prepared, even though I was a tornado of God, I got to get this thing pulled together in 3 hours or 3 hours before showtime. But the New York Knickerbockers, who I am rare to root for a New York team, but this time around, I typically, if I don't have a dog in a fight for the finals of a certain sports championship, I will go with the team who has had the longest drought, because I just want to see them get theirs. And in this case, it was the Knicks. They hadn't won a title since 1973. And along the way, they had a little good luck charm that tends to like to get a payoff in human monies, if you will.
Yes.
specifically human monies. I love how he puts that.
and jewelry, because as we found out with Matt Cardona the other night, throwing a watch into the thing, which was great because he was like, hey, Zach. And it's like, it's Matt. I was like, that's beautiful.
Dude, seriously, you and I thought this was like his intro at Elimination Chamber was probably, I wouldn't say it's like at the gobbledygooker level, but it was pretty damn close. Like the place was dead.
Well, the thing is, it was one of those things that it was, now you take it in context, it makes perfect sense. It's because we didn't know. I mean, I didn't know that much about him. I mean, he hadn't been on television because AEW had him under contract for like how many years and just didn't use him.
Yep.
Nobody really knew what we were getting.
Yeah.
And nobody really knew like how they were going to use him and what the kind of Danhausen, sensibility was. Looking back now, I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense. That's how the debut would happen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. And so, I mean, yes and no. Like I think it would have. I mean, I don't know what would have been better, how better to introduce him other than, maybe to have some footage or something, or like something that kind of clues you in a little bit. It's going to be something goofy or spooky or something.
No, I think this was, again, like it's in retrospect, whether it's been course correction or just, Danhausen kind of doing Danhausen things and making it all make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It works now. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, I should have seen it, even though I didn't. I just didn't know. So I at this point now, with 2020 hindsight, I wouldn't change a thing. Wouldn't change the thing.
All right. But yes, he had uncursed the New York Knickerbockers, and they were on an amazing playoff run. Let's see, the team culminated a 16-3 playoff run Saturday night. There was one point during the playoffs I had sent Uncle Todd. It was a tweet that I saw, or maybe it was on Instagram, where the Knicks were just they pummeled some team. It was in the first round by it was like 40 points or something ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And someone decided to put a meme together where it showed, the Knicks up by whatever it was, 30, 40 points. And the second half of the image was Duke from Rocky, throw the damn towel.
Yes, I remember that.
From Rocky 4.
Dude should have won an Oscar for that. Throw the damn towel.
It was the first half. It was the end of the first half too, and it was that made total sense to me. It's like, yep, that's it. Game over. Game over. So but no, Dan,
in this series they had the Spurs up by 29?
Yes,
and they lost.
Spurs were up by 29 and they lost. Oh yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal.
And then you had who was it? Mariska. God, wasn't she Law and Order?
Hargitay or something like that?
Yeah,
right?
or Haggerty.
Yeah, something like that.
There was one with her that showed before that game and then after that game, and of course, as a fan, and you're into it, you're going through it, and she's just frazzled and stuff, and it's looks like she was taking on Wemby all night, 1-on-1. Just looks ragged, and I'm like, dude, I've been through those games as a fan, I understand,
Yep.
No shame whatsoever. There's some games where it becomes it becomes an endurance event. You're just trying to survive. That's all it is.
Yep. And I did see a reel from Instagram when he was present for one of the finals games. And he was talking with some of the announcers, and I love the fact that the announcers were in on the shtick too, where they're talking about him and the human monies and stuff like that. I mean, I just this guy has this goofy gimmick, and he's turned it into this amazing comedy, shtick that everyone enjoys, and he's so over in WWE right now. And
he has his own laboratory set every arena now. How did this happen? It's a combination of Frankenstein's laboratory, but also there's this weird sort of I can see a parallel. You remember the movie UHF, Weird Al Yankovic?
Yes. Yep.
And I think it was Philo was the guy who was the station engineer, and he had a laboratory, with all the things going on. And I'm just I could definitely see Danhausen being enough of a Weird Al fan where there's a little bit of that in there too.
Oh yeah. And
I love how all this is always going to look under the sheet. Don't touch that. Yeah.
No, and I I think this was I have to go see if I can find it. I thought on Cage Side Seats they had an article about something Heyman said about why Danhausen works in the WWE product, and part of what he was saying is look, you can't have, and correct me if I'm wrong if you had brought this up, and maybe I'm recalling this, but I thought it was Heyman that basically said, look, you can't have, from minute one to the end of the show, a constant stream of I'm going to kill you, I'm going to take you down, I'm going to like the intensity has its place. You've got to have those moments in there where there's some levity, where there's some breathing room. Maybe this was Cornette. I don't remember. I watch and listen to so much, and the weeks have been a blur.
It sounds more like Cornette, honestly, than Heyman.
Is it?
Even though I think Heyman understands that, but at the same time, the way that he booked ECW does not show that he understood it back then. Jim Cornette is much more...
yes and no, because the Dudleys were kind of booked in a... I wouldn't say they're like Danhausen, but they were kind of that group that brought some levity with the physical comedy piece of it a
Well, I
little
mean,
bit.
the leader was called Big Dick Dudley. I mean, yeah, this
It
and
is.
the whole concept of like, there was Papa Dudley who went around and was always, had a girl in every town, and that's why all the Dudleys look different. I was like,
Yeah.
that is kind of okay. So yeah, no, you're right, but I think Cornette is a little bit more of the historian who could explain it in that kind of
to pace out your show, right? You need to have those moments of levity, and he fits in beautifully because he comes in as this, kind of wacky comedy individual who then, through the cursing and everything can, then have influence on other characters who also might have a little bit of a, the whole thing with him and Miz has been hysterical. Seeing the two of them work together and such. And so no, I mean, it's great to see him, have some real mainstream, success with, his gimmick playing out as this, uncursing of the Knicks sort of situation. And Nickhausen, that's right. They're the Championhausen. But nonetheless, Danhausen, we raise a glass, tip our cap. You, sir, have certainly uncursed the Knicks, and hopefully the Celtics are not that far behind. So.
Well, I mean, the Celtics have gotten theirs a lot more in the past half century than the Knicks.
I know,
have.
but I'm always going to throw in for my Boston Celtics. So
I mean, I'd like to see them back next year myself.
Indeed. All right, moving on from Danhausen and his uncursinghausen to an article I found, really my thought process here was, Uncle Todd said something interesting to me the other day.
This is basically just you. You go right ahead and because I have no point of reference on this.
No, I would love to get your reaction to some of it. I know you may not be as into it, but we as we're talking about show ideas, and we will at some point, in the near future, do potentially a show on the mask versus mask match at Noche de los Grandes a couple weeks ago, because it is something to behold. I finally watched it all the way through, and I was like, I cannot believe Ludwig Kaiser and Chad Gable had more of a reaction than some Roman Reigns matches. So,
quick question here, because I don't. Yes. So is Undertaker like booking AAA? Like,
he is the head booker of AAA. Yes.
Okay, I did not know about this at all.
Yeah, I didn't realize it. I read something about it not back in the beginning part of the year, and then it just kind of like went right over my head. And then recently with the booking of this event, it was brought up again. Like, wow, Taker, the big man is really making his mark on Lucha Libre, and he's just kind of like, I'm just kind of taking what they did and trying to wrap it up in some stories and make it interesting and stuff like that. And so. It's been kind of cool to see the dead man, who was the furthest thing from Lucha Libre, is kind of the guy who's revitalizing the whole thing.
He's like two luchadors stacked on top of each other in a trench coat. That's how you get Undertaker. Like,
oh my gosh!
In a way like that works. Sometimes if you have somebody who's coming into something completely, fresh.
Yes.
As long as they have a respect, this is why I always I won't get into the political overtones of this too much, but like when I heard someone say, oh, well, if you get this person in here who dislikes this entire thing, then they're going to bring fresh ideas. I'm like, that's not really how it works, because those people that you're suggesting just disagree on a fundamental level of the point where they don't even believe that this should exist.
Yeah,
that's not coming with a respect and bringing fresh eyes. That's, I just want to destroy this thing.
Yeah,
coming to something where you're like, I don't really understand this in the same way that someone who has either watched and or done this their entire career or life, but I respect what they're doing because I have done at least like a variation of this. So I have respect for this, and okay, cool. Well, let me do what I can do to kind of maybe add, some of what I know to this, and let's see what happens. That's a beautiful thing, because that's when you do get ideas where everybody, working both ways is kind of seeing things from a fresh perspective, because it's like, oh, well, wait a minute. Now we have to question, like, well, why do we do that the same way all the time?
Yeah.
Could we do this? Oh, I never thought of that. So that's kind of cool. Anyways, I didn't mean to take off on AAA there for whatever reason.
Yeah, no worries.
He needs to take the damn belt off Dom, though. God's sake.
Well, I'll tell you this much: it's putting that like this whole and where I was going with all this, ladies and gentlemen, is Uncle Todd, kind of said he was wrestling out, and I'm like, you know what? We have done a lot on wrestling, so I actually don't want to talk too much more about this because I tried to put a Week in Geek together that was non-wrestling because you asked for it, my friend.
I know. I contain multitudes, and they're all fighting.
I contain the hordes, and they're at odds with each other.
I've got 3 brain cells, and they're all fighting each other.
But I'll say this. Watching that match, and we will maybe next show we should do it so we don't get too far away and it doesn't mean anything. But although our next week, our next free range idiocy is going to be movies that are 45 years old. So
true, but you know what? Next week, maybe for the Week in Geek, maybe for our 300th episode, that would be the proper way to go at this thing. Get right back to it. I mean, I don't even know why, but our logo involves luchador masks.
It was prescient the way you did that. It was prescient.
I still can't explain why I did that. So maybe it all just circles right back around.
It would be appropriate for the 300th to review a lucha libre match.
Something that makes no sense is the heart of what we do.
But I will say, and I got to be honest, after watching that match, it really, I mean, again, not that it does nothing to the shine on Dom as a heel, but him holding that belt, I mean, yes, it can make him a massive heel because of the fact that so many fans would probably want to see El Grande Americano beat him. You know what I mean? Like, and that's probably where Taker maybe is frothing at the mouth a little bit and kind of like, yeah, excellent, because Dom can now play the chicken shit heel with the title. Choose not to defend it against Americano, continue to just kind of evade him, even though he is, basically beloved by, the Mexican fans, until they build it up to a major main event. But Dom's losing that belt because El Grande Americano is just like he as a character, he as a wrestler, light years. And again, I don't mean to knock Dom, but I don't know if it's complacency. I don't know if it's just his position as Ray's son or what it is. It's starting to show that he is not as polished as some of the other wrestlers are. I mean, he just doesn't. I mean, forget his physique and everything. I mean, that is a whole other thing to talk about. Because, and again, not that he's got to be all buffed up, but I mean, it doesn't even look like he's trying. Well, like you talk about Sammy, I think Sami Zayn is in better shape than Dom Mysterio is in, to be perfectly blunt. But when you see Dom in the ring, like he is not, and again, he's not sold as a wrestling technician, but it's like I would have expected by now to see some growth from year one to now. And he's still doing the same shtick that he's been doing like for the last 3-4 years. So I just don't see the evolution happening. And you see a guy like Ludwig Kaiser who goes from being Gunther's, henchman and wrestling in these like, crap matches. And he gets the freaking reaction that he gets from that crowd because within a short period of time, the guy learns the, not just the Mexican language, but, Spanish, but also the culture and everything. And he's like just so attuned to the crowd and what they want.
Learning the lucha style, which is very different.
Yes.
From like what we're used to, especially in WWE. Holy crap!
Yeah,
but
even Gable with what he was doing, where the whole gimmick was he was kind of making fun of it or trying to fight it or something. But even Gable was amazing as El Grande Americano Original, or like as I like to call it, Clásico.
Yes,
I
really like that actually. How did they not go with that?
I don't know.
Damn it!
I think Chavo must hold the patent for his dad. Chavo Classic, but
that might be the case.
But anyways,
one thing is with Dom, I always here we are not talking about wrestling and talking about wrestling.
You started this.
I know I did. Again, I contain multitudes, and they're all angry at each other. The thing I always said with Dom was partly it was the physique in terms of height. Like he's taller, I think, than most luchadors.
Yeah.
So therefore, like some of the moves he's trying to do, like it just the physics of it. That's blown out of the water now by Kaiser because they're about the same height, and Kaiser is making this stuff look good.
Oh my God, yes.
So what's the excuse with Dom? But I do agree. I think that would make an excellent way for him to drop the belt, and it won't affect him in WWE at all. I mean, it's just if anything, it's just a way for them to remind people of AAA on WWE TV, which I can get that. And if it builds heat on Dom, then so be it, you know?
Now, I think the Undertaker's task is, while all this is building up now, he's got to start thinking about who, because where I see this story going is, if Americano, gets to the point of winning the AAA championship, the mega championship, you've now got to have some killer heel to come at him, and you got to be building someone up during this time to get them to that point. So I'm kind of curious if they start, concocting a character, or they start taking an existing character and kind of building them up as the nemesis, or is it Chad Gable again? Is it one of those situations that Americano wins and Gable comes back and, because he did say, well, I don't want to get into it because it, kind of ruins the match. But anyways, we've talked enough about this. We should move on. Oh God, what?
Or
Mr. I don't want to talk about wrestling. Okay.
Are we at that point when you finally go through all this and then you give Americano a little bit of time? Is that when we are ready for a Penta heel turn and we go back to Dark Penta?
Okay. I can see that. That would be interesting.
It could be.
That would be
Anyways, what were we talking about before we started?
I was trying to get to 5 underrated Star Wars games that are perfect from start to finish, or so we're led to believe, and I wanted to go through them real quick.
Okay, then have at it.
I know you're not going to have much to say about this because
why have you been delaying? Let's get on with it.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, he's the heel. What'd I do? What happened? I don't know. All right. From our friends at CBR.com. Okay, here's the name. Let's put it through the sniff test. Mark O'Callahan. What the hell is that? Is that a thumbs? Okay, all right. I thought you were going to do a little bow or something like that.
That's a guy who grew up in Southie.
Okay.
He's a good dude. I mean, just
he's solid. He's good people.
Just run if you see him drinking Jameson, because then things are going to get rough. But otherwise, if he's just with the beer, you're all right.
So 5 underrated Star Wars games that are perfect from start to finish, according to our friends at CBR.com, and apparently from Southie, Mark O'Callahan, who may not have actually been from Southie, but Uncle Todd's. Hey. That's the narrative he's spinning. Have you, sir, ever played Lego Star Wars?
Actually, I think I did.
All right. Well, Lego Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars, is one of those games. It doesn't get the love it deserves, and it is a excellent entry into the overall Lego Star Wars brand of games that do exist.
All right.
So why is it so good? It is, well, for one, if you've ever played these games, they do a phenomenal job of, kind of basically taking the movies and between the cutscenes and the missions and what you go after and stuff like that, it does a nice job of, kind of breaking it down, especially since these games are kind of geared more to kids.
Mm-hmm.
In the article here, it talks about, they provide a smoother experience in this game, despite the lack of voices. And then the larger ground battles that happen in the game are kind of ahead of their time and fun to play through. So kind of a combination of just the play mechanics, how they kind of, basically, adapted the source material of the Clone Wars in a very smart and captivating way that I think all fans really, who have played this game have really enjoyed, but it just, for one reason or another, doesn't get its due. So, So Lego Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars is definitely one to try if you have not. This game I would love to try. It came out and it had negative reactions because it had some bugs in it. It wasn't great, from the jump, but it has gotten better over time, and that is Star Wars Outlaws. And that game was interesting because it came out about 2 years ago. What's that?
I thought you had tried that one because
I did not. I said I wanted to, but I had not. But it was a game that came out about 2 years ago. Had a female lead character in it, but it was really based around the underworld of Star Wars. So the different underworld cartels and gangs and so forth, and you play one particular character who has to navigate through all of that. When Ubisoft launched the game, numerous bugs and gameplay flaws. were really, kind of harming it. It's one of the few open world Star Wars games. I would say Star Wars: The Old Republic is another one, which I continue to play. But it is over time they have put out updates and improved it, and so now most of the bugs have been fixed. The visuals look really good. The gameplay fixes have been really good, so that it's playing more as I think the developers had originally intended. And so it's just a game to maybe go back and revisit because it has been improved upon. And at the end of the day, that's all we can ask of these game developers. I think I've mentioned this before. I read a book called Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and the video game development world is not as bright and shiny as you would expect it to be. Like, these people put a lot of hours in to create a game, create a universe that is something that will captivate and engage players. And fair or unfair, when it comes out, fans expect perfection. They expect it to play solidly, as one would expect any sort of product they put their money into. But with software, there's always going to be bugs. There's always going to be problems. And so but just knowing the amount of time and energy and effort that goes into this stuff, it's just one of those things that I have some empathy and some grace for the people who do this, because it is very complex to get these games right, and it takes a lot of time and energy as well. So Star Wars Outlaws is the next game. I've talked about two of these. And anything you wanted to say, sir?
Not really. I mean, I guess the only thing I'd have a retort to is the part of this that I'm most unknowledgeable about, even more so than the Star Wars games themselves. Like, just from the perspective of a consumer, I can see where a lot of people, maybe even not necessarily wanting perfection, because I mean, people are going to want that, but I mean, wanting something functional. And I think that at least from my perspective, and I'm not in development of software or anything, and I in fact don't understand a lick of it. However, it feels like it's become more and more and more accessible the more that we've gone to a, I don't know, cloud-based society. Online is a right term, or just the readily available of the ready availability of being able to download updates here, there, and anywhere. Like, it's just become a thing now that your phone updates like every couple days, or you might have it, and it could be major or minor, or your software is always updating, or this and that and the other. Like, it's become more of a thing, like, because I am of, and I know that you are as well, because similar age. We both remember back in the day when if you wanted to buy a game, you wanted to buy a program, you had to walk your ass or drive your ass down to the mall, and then walk your ass through the mall and go to the software store, like what was Computer, etc., or whatever. Like, you had different games or different stores, and you would go there and you would pick the box off the shelf and you take it home and you'd throw in the discs and you install it on your computer. And that was kind of that. Like, that was the thing. Like, there was no updates coming. There was no, you download this software fix or whatever. So, I mean, it feels like we've become more and more accepting of getting something that's just, in some cases, just broke. It feels like you get something and you're like, what the frack were you even thinking about releasing this? And it feels like I didn't sign up to be a beta tester. I signed up to get the thing. And I don't want to be the beta tester, but it feels like that's much more accepted. So, I mean, and I'm not saying that's the case with everything. Certainly not. And nothing is perfect. And there should be room for people to fix things and all that. Fine. I get it. And I'm happy now that we can fix things. So there is that side of it. But I do understand some people's frustration when you get something and it's just like, you sold me a box essentially where it's like a jigsaw puzzle that I thought was at least going to be assembled, and now not only is it not assembled, but some of the pieces are not cut right, so like I can't assemble it.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's all I have to say about that. And I know that I am probably completely off base, and I don't know how it works, but
no, it's all good. Last thing I'll just say about Star Wars Outlaws, I mentioned the open world nature of it, but it is a game also that doesn't really deal anything with the Jedi, which is actually kind of honestly, with Star Wars: The Old Republic, those are the character classes I played first. I played the bounty hunter, I played the smuggler, I'm just now starting a new character who is a Sith assassin, is what it's called. But that's really that's my first foray into a Force user lightsaber, because as much as I like those characters in the movies, being the all-powerful being, again, you're not omnipotent and omniscient, but you do possess a level of power and strength over others. I tended to gravitate more towards the Han Solos and Boba Fett's. I enjoyed them as much as I enjoyed Luke Skywalker. And so this game here, there's the open world exploration aspect of it. There's a lot of like side missions you can go on and do. The space travel aspect of it is fun. You can interact with a lot of different, things in the game, from what I understand, than what you could do in, maybe prior video games. So do check it out, even though it had kind of a negative reaction at first. It is a game to definitely look into and try. Right. The next game, this one I have zero experience with at all. Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series, puts you against Darth Vader. Apparently this is a let's see, one of the must-have games on any Meta Quest device. So I guess this is Meta VR, I guess.
Is that still a thing, or did that die with the metaverse dying?
I thought it did, but I don't. It sounds like it hasn't, because you can still play it. This is what I love. While you don't play as Darth Vader, there are many encounters with him through the experience. It's like, well, damn it, why am I playing the game then? Son of a gun.
Yeah. That sounds like the ultimate, never mind.
Vader Immortal here's what it says. It does a superb job of capturing his presence, especially when he's right next to you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you too can earn the right to stand next to the man who breathes heavily. Heck me.
What kind of voyeuristic sort of Star Wars fan porn?
This is why I picked this article out, to get that reaction.
It's like, here, I'm going to pay $75 for the possibility to maybe stand next to we'll at least get to hear James Earl Jones say, "You're very special to me."
I'm going to ignite my saber.
You're just taunting me, trying to get me to step over the line, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
He's on to me, but he ain't falling for it.
Nope.
And then I love this part of it too. So let me just check. So game as you play a smuggler who's kidnapped by Vader. Because you're force sensitive, Vader uses to his advantage by making you steal something valuable for him. Because of your force nature, you're learning the classic ability.
Blackmailed by Vader. Why does Vader need to blackmail anybody?
Wait, so
what does God need?
Because of your force, because of your force nature, you're learning the classic abilities like moving objects with your mind and shielding yourself. They even give you a lightsaber to attack with. But here's the part I love. Vader Immortal is a short experience, but with the limited time you have, it delivers a phenomenal VR adventure. So apparently this is some game they developed that is quite short. You don't play Vader. You apparently are his lackey running look at Uncle Todd. I think I see the vein starting to pop out of the right side of his head. Oh, God.
What the heck? What kind of cuckold sort of freaking stuff is this? I don't get to use the lightsaber, but I get to watch him use it. What the hell is this? Who thought this was a good idea? And who thought this was? Why is this number 3? Why do you have this? This is not your list, right?
This is not ranked by best to worst. This is just 5 games. All this is 5 games.
Somebody paid off Seamus O'Malley or whatever the hell.
Seamus O'Malley.
I can't remember his name.
Sir, I'll have you know the name is Mark O'Callahan.
All right,
okay?
I'm starting to doubt more and more if Mark is actually a person.
All right,
because it sounds like there's some payola going on here. Hey, see if we can get a few more people to buy our Vader freaking only Vader video game we have here.
All right, the 4th game is Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, and it is called the Ultimate Star Wars Power Fantasy. I don't know if I want to use the word fantasy in there, but okay. The premise of this game is genius, with you playing as the secret apprentice named Starkiller, who is working, which Starkiller I think was originally Luke Skywalker's name.
Yes.
Working for Darth Vader. While the game was initially popular when it came out, the poorly received sequel and new Star Wars game made The Force Unleashed seem like a distant memory. Key reason fans love the game is Sam Witwer. Okay, so Sam Witwer's in this. Brilliant performance as Starkiller. No matter what path you go down, Witwer's acting is top notch. I wonder if he talks about his graphs. Do you think he talks about the graphs?
Maybe.
Okay. Let's see. It's the first Star Wars project that Sam Witwer got involved in. Grateful he's part of the universe. What else? Now, Starkiller, players can decide what path he goes on, dark or light. Those elements, RPG elements, are done very well, lead to great outcomes no matter the choice. Let's see. With his abilities, players feel like they have all the power. It's the ultimate power fantasy of wanting to be part of the Empire or potential Jedi. Well, okay, I'm not buying any of this. So, okay, well,
so it's like it's a glorified choose your own adventure.
Basically, this is all about Sam Witwer being part of a video game. This is his initial project with the Star Wars brand. He does a great job voicing and acting in it. And apparently, if you want to go and use Starkiller and choose the light side or the dark side, it's just going to be so much fun. So have at it, ladies and gentlemen. Have at it.
All right. What's the last one?
Okay, number 5 I can speak to, but I can't speak to the particular point they make.
Well, you've already given us more than Vader did. So
back in 2020, I purchased the game Star Wars Squadrons, if you may recall.
I was going to ask about this because you have not mentioned this in forever.
Because I have not played this game in forever. I basically I had to, because
you and Jimmy Dice were very high on this at first.
Well, because of memory limitations on my gaming laptop and the games that I wanted to play, I had to basically shelve that one so I could play the other games, and I never brought it back. And then I did read, it was in 21 or 22, that EA Games announced they were not going to make any more improvements to the game. So I kind of fell away from it because of that. But overall, as a flight simulator game, it was actually quite good. But what this refers to is a Star Wars Squadrons in VR feels like you're a Rebel pilot. So can you imagine wearing a VR set and doing like a flight simulator game like this? Like pew, 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 pew. Fun stuff. Could be fun stuff. Might actually, if you're not careful in your living room, you might take out your coffee table.
I mean, I have no interest in buying a VR headset. So, I mean, I'm already out on this one. So
that is the problem with the VR stuff is there's quite an upfront investment to want to get into it and all that. And so, I could kind of see
how much are VR headsets these days?
I think they're still pretty pricey.
VR. Oh, hang on. Gaming headset.
Well, MetaQuest is like $350.
Let's see here. Let's go with the shopping tab here and see what we show up. Yeah, so Sony PlayStation 300. MetaQuest is $335 at Wally World. Yeah, no, I'm not. Oh my good God! Valve Index VR kit for $825.79 on the eBay. There's one for $1,070. Yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah. So, anyways, folks, if you're interested, Lego Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars, Star Wars Outlaws, Vader Immortal, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, and finally Star Wars Squadrons in VR are your 5 underrated Star Wars video games that must be tried because they are perfect from start to finish, according to Mark O'Callahan.
Did Seamus O'Malley here share some of the money he got to pimp these games with you?
No,
did you guys get nothing?
No, he did not.
Jeez.
I think I'm going to make this our last story, so we can wrap this gun up and head over to our next episode here. But yes, from our friends at Gizmodo.com. We might have talked about this already. The author here is Jen Lennon. That passed the sniff test? Jen Lennon?
Feels doubtful.
Okay. All right.
Feels doubtful.
Our article title is The Mandalorian and Grogu is missing 2 major characters, and Jon Favreau explains why. We have talked about this to some degree, but the 2 characters, just to sum it up quickly, is Ahsoka Tano and Grand Admiral Thrawn. And, Favreau's explanation for this is, and I think we did talk about this, is, he wanted to have a contained movie that would not require the general viewing audience to have watched the Mandalorian series. He wanted to, not feature tie-ins that required, background knowledge, just out of a sense of just wanting, to tell a story that, could be digested and received by both a Star Wars and a non-Star Wars fan audience. And he says here, quote, "It's not always about character crossovers. It's about the characters and what they're experiencing. We brought Ahsoka into The Mandalorian originally because she'd be a great character to explain to Grogu a bit more about his history. So when we find the right reason to have characters intersect, we will definitely do it." What else? Thrawn is mostly, let's see. Favreau also said, when we were discussing doing a 4th season of Mando, which was put on hold, and then the idea of doing a theatrical presentation, it changed the way we approached how interconnected things would be. 4th season of a show would have assumed you saw 3 seasons previously, and frankly, everything else in Disney Plus. That's the nature of a serialized long-form TV story. And so I believe he opted to keep the movie contained and not get into crossovers. So, sir, your thoughts on the Favreau choosing to keep things neat and tidy rather than going the free-range idiocy route and going on tangents left, right, and center?
I mean, I agree with the end product, and I agree with a lot of what Favreau was saying. I think he's also not saying some other things. I think part of the reason that you don't do Ahsoka is that she is going to instantly overshadow a lot of folks in the movie because you have to clear room for that character. Like you can't just have her show up in the movie and it be a quick flyby like it is in, well, I mean, even in the episode that she's in, like that entire episode is kind of centered around, maybe not her entirely, but she's a big part of it. And then after that, yeah, you can have her buzz in, buzz out for, whatever. But you put her in the movie, like for that form, yeah, you're going to need to have her be there for a reason.
Yeah.
She just can't be, well, she'll show up in another episode or whatever. Thrawn, I think for another reason is that not everybody is quite hip to who Thrawn is yet. Because Thrawn has only appeared in Rebels, has only appeared in the books, and at the very end of Ahsoka. So it's like and also again, like if you have to have a reason for those characters there, which means it's going to change the narrative of what you're doing. You can't tell this story with those other characters. Like they just don't fit.
Right.
Not unless you're like everything that you're going to do going forward turns on Rada, so it's, I mean, I get it, but I think that he's also kind of not acknowledging the fact like, well, and they're going to overshadow like the 2 leads in this movie. It's very good. It's quickly going to become about Ahsoka and Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah.
And that ain't the move. That's not who's on the marquee.
Right. And it sounds like, based on what Filoni's planning, it sounds like Ahsoka season 2 is where they're going to dive more deeply into Thrawn and Ahsoka and so forth. And so I think that makes sense. I think, that's the place where to Favreau's point, that's where the crossovers should probably live, because Thrawn was introduced in season 1. It seems like a natural extension to keep him in season 2. And if they choose to use season 2 as the way to build up the monster heel persona of Thrawn, then I think that makes a lot of sense. And if Filoni is to be believed, there's going to be a lot of war, a lot of battling. I think we're going to see Admiral Akbar. Honestly, I think we're going to see the fall of Admiral Akbar. To me, that's a great way. That in a lot of ways is a way to level up, Thrawn in people's eyes, is for him to take out, because of his cunning and because of the way he is a strategist to a ridiculous degree, ends up, outdoing one of the more beloved rebel leaders. So I think, it's appropriate to have that place I think we've been conditioned by Marvel to want to find those things because of the post-credit scenes and, this must lead to this, which must lead to this.
Yeah.
And it's, honestly, seeing that movie was refreshing to not have that. It was refreshing that it was just it was a story. It was a movie. It was a story. And, could it have played out on Disney Plus as, an extension of Mandalorian? Sure. But I thought they did a really nice job of telling a story with these characters that we hadn't seen in the series yet. And we saw Grogu evolve, we saw Mando evolve, we saw the Razor Crest come back, which was just chef's kiss.
Mhm.
And we got introduced to some other characters, and that will probably in and of itself lead to something else later on. So when Marvel did something cool with post credit scenes and linking things together, but now we're almost to a point of expecting it too much.
Yeah.
And it's almost to a degree too where I kind of laugh. I joke with the family when we go to movies. Like my wife and I went to see Disclosure Day last Friday, and I'm kind of like, when it's done, I'm like, oh, well, she goes to get up, and I'm like, what about the post credit scene? And she just looks at me, and I'm like, I'm joking, I know. So, but that's how we've been conditioned. Like, there's always something afterwards, So,
Mhm.
anywho, I'm fine with the choice they made. I thought it was, the right call. The movie was good. We did not need it, and it was a really nice entry into the Star Wars series, universe and brand, where we got introduced to some new characters, some new places, and we saw our favorite characters in some interesting situations.
Indeed.
All right, do you want to do this last one, or we want to call it?
Now let's head towards the big finish here. What do you got for and another thing, sir?
All right. My and another thing is what I just mentioned, Disclosure Day, which is in theaters. It is Steven Spielberg's. A lot of articles are calling it his coda to his films on aliens as a whole, and I would tend to agree with that. I think it is a nice bow to put on. Essentially, 40, 50 years worth of storytelling he's done in this realm, and I like it. I think it was very well done. I mean, Emily Blunt. Who else is in the cast? I don't have it in front of me, but Colin Firth. I mean, everyone plays their role well. Let me see, Disclosure Day. Everyone plays their role well, and it was, it was a very interesting movie. And really the premise is, just you have some characters who are trying to get show the world what has happened in terms of alien contact and that sort of thing, and of course they're being thwarted by government agencies, but it all kind of builds up to this really interesting crescendo that turns into just a great moment where I think one of the themes that I took away from the movie, and I don't think it was any shock or surprise knowing Spielberg and his politics and the way he thinks about things, is just about in the movie they very clearly show empathy as strength and not weakness.
Mhm.
And the honestly, I mean, without spoiling anything, the very last word uttered in the movie is listen. And I think that is, those are two powerful concepts that are unfortunately lacking in our world today, is empathy and just listening and trying to understand others.
Mhm.
And so I mean, I think there were just some really, really great themes in this movie, and some good storytelling, and I would highly recommend it to those who are on the fence. Spielberg delivers as he always does. So,
Very
Disclosure
nice.
Day.
Well, cool. I'm going to recommend the Nth Power's new album Never Alone, which is fan. I got to hear a handful of songs off of that one on Friday, but more so, I'm going to recommend. Excuse me, checking out the entire catalog by the Nth Power, but mostly seeing them live. This is an amazing group of musicians. Nikki Glaspie, who is the drummer, and I kind of feel like this is one of those deals where there's not really specifically a leader, but I feel like she has the leadership role, kind of by that's just the feeling I get. She was the first person down at the merch table, and I was literally like, so wait a minute, let me get this straight. You have the most gear to load in, the most gear to load out. You never stop playing the whole time, and you're down here first. I was like, how does that work, man? Like, she's like, that's because I work. I'm like, okay, yes, ma'am. Like, no arguments from me. She's such a talented drummer, and also a really good singer too. Singing fantastic harmonies throughout the night, and also getting her turn a little bit here and there on some lead vocals. But just amazing being able to one of the things that's great about hearing them live is the fact that the songs that you have heard on their albums, they will remix and redo them playing live. So as we're listening, I'm like, this is not how I remember this song being on the album, but it's still really cool. Nate Edgar, who is the bass player, New Hampshire boy from Hampton Beach, originally went to UNH. I think we crossed years by a couple years. He would have no idea who the hell I was. I knew who he was just because I hung out with all the music majors. Phenomenal bass player. Oh my God. Just someone in a trio who really can do a lot in terms of filling space when the guitar player is otherwise occupied. So just a phenomenal player, very tasteful in the pocket. And then Nick Casarino, who is the lead singer and the guitar player, such a unique voice and a hell of a guitar player, and is able to do that kind of rare thing of soloing while also managing to keep some rhythm going, which is like he doesn't drop the rhythm part entirely soloing or when he's not singing. Like it's kind of a cool thing. I always appreciate that from guitar players who can still keep a rhythm part somewhat intact while they're soloing, because it's I can't even imagine that. Like I can't play freaking chords. I play one note at a time. That's it. So overall, the three of them together are just a friggin' powerhouse that you really need to see live to truly appreciate. Although, hearing the album ain't too bad either. So I heard the first couple songs off of this, and I believe the last song. But the entire thing is a lot of fun to listen to, and their lyrics are great. And, from my ear, I think the production is great on it as well. So check it out. Never Alone, the new album by The Nth Power.
Nice.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for Week in Geek Wednesday. Thank you all for tuning in. You can go to freerangeedc.com and find all of our episodes there. Subscribe to the Podbean app. You can find our episodes audio-wise on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon, as well as many other podcast purveyors. Just search for us. You can also find full video episodes on our YouTube channel. If you go to the social medias, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, and the aforementioned YouTube. All of those are at Free Range EDC. You have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, send those to Tim at Free Range EDC. And since this is his show, we're going to throw it right back in his face here. What do you got to say for yourself, sir?
To the interwebs, we say you suspect. We don't know what your reputation is in this town, but after what you tried to pull today, you can bet we'll be looking into you.
Especially you, Seamus O'Malley.
That's right. Mike O'Callahan from South.
Mark? Is it Mark? Mike?
I think it was Mark.
Yeah, whatever the hell he is. Shill.
To our listeners, we say good day, ladies and gentlemen. And until that day comes, keep your ear to the grindstone.
You're messing with my Zen thing, man.
Now get the hell out of here!